On this day, a black father entered the courtroom. He carried himself with dignity, but his eyes revealed exhaustion. His shoulders carried the weight of responsibility. His voice carried the tone of resilience. And his presence carried the quiet strength of a man who had endured much. He was charged with violations that did not reflect his actions, targeted by a system that too often confuses bias with justice. He was not a man of wealth. He was not a man of privilege. He was a man of family, a man of responsibility, a man of truth. He worked long hours to provide for his children. He sacrificed comfort to ensure their survival. He endured hardship to protect their future. And yet, despite his sacrifices, despite his responsibilities, despite his dignity, he found himself standing in a courtroom, accused of violations that were not his own. His story was not unique. Too often, men like him are targeted by systems that fail to see humanity. Too often, fathers like him are burdened by accusations rooted in bias, not truth. Too often, families like his are punished by fines that destroy stability, not restore fairness. He explained his situation with honesty. He spoke of his children, their needs, their dreams. He spoke of his work, his sacrifices, his responsibilities. He spoke of the burden of being wrongly accused, of the weight of fines he did not deserve, of the fear that injustice would harm his family. He spoke not with arrogance, but with humility, not with entitlement, but with sincerity, not with ego, but with truth. And as I listened, I understood. Justice is not about punishing the innocent. Justice is not about reinforcing bias. Justice is not about silencing truth. Justice is about fairness. Justice is about equality. Justice is about humanity. The law must be respected. Violations must be addressed. But justice must also be fair. And fairness is not only about equality. Fairness is about compassion. Fairness is about understanding. Fairness is about humanity. To punish this man with crushing fines would not serve justice. It would serve injustice. To impose penalties he did not deserve would not teach responsibility. It would teach despair. To ignore his truth would not uphold the law. It would betray the very principle of justice. That is why I spoke firmly. That is why I reminded him, and everyone listening, that justice is not only about rules. Justice is about people. Justice is about truth. Justice is about fairness. To the black father I said this: your dignity is seen. Your truth is respected. Your humanity is defended. And in this courtroom, justice will protect you, not punish you. Justice is not complete until fairness is enforced. Words alone cannot restore dignity. Principles alone cannot protect humanity. Justice requires action, and that action must be equal for all. When the black father stood before me, his expectation was simple. He did not ask for privilege. He did not ask for immunity. He did not ask for favoritism. He asked for fairness. He asked for truth. He asked for justice. The charges against him were presented with confidence, but confidence does not equal truth. The accusations were written in ink, but ink does not equal justice. The penalties were calculated in numbers, but numbers do not equal fairness. I reviewed the evidence. I weighed the facts, and I saw the truth. The charges did not reflect his actions. The accusations were rooted in bias, not reality. The penalties were unjust, not fair. Bias in the courtroom is dangerous. Bias tells the world that justice is selective. Bias tells the world that equality is negotiable. Bias tells the world that humanity can be ignored, and bias, unchecked, destroys the very foundation of society. That is why I confronted the injustice. That is why I spoke firmly. That is why I reminded everyone listening that justice is not negotiable. Justice is not selective. Justice is not corruptible. I dismissed the charges. I removed the fines. I ensured that the law was respected, but humanity was protected. And in that moment, his eyes filled with relief, his shoulders eased, his voice softened. He realized that justice was not his enemy. Justice was his defender. That realization was the true lesson, not the dismissal, not the relief, not the protection, but the understanding that justice is not only about punishment. Justice is about fairness. Justice is about truth. Justice is about equality. To the Black Father, I said this: your dignity is intact. Your humanity is respected. Your truth is defended. And justice will always stand with you. To the citizens listening, I say this: do not be deceived into thinking justice is only about punishment. Do not be discouraged into believing the law is only about fines. Do not be silenced into thinking compassion has no place in the courtroom. Justice is on your side. Justice is your right. Justice is your protection. To the families listening, I say this: your trust is sacred. Your safety is paramount. And this courtroom will always defend that trust. No wealth, no privilege, no arrogance, no bias will ever outweigh the humanity of your community. Punishment is not the end of the lesson. Compassion is the beginning of healing. When you are shown mercy, when you are given fairness, you are reminded of the dignity of justice. You are reminded that humanity is not forgotten. You are reminded that compassion is the soul of the law. Reflection is the true lesson. Reflection is where dignity is restored. Reflection is where accountability becomes wisdom. Reflection is where justice transforms from punishment into growth. And in this case, reflection was powerful. Reflection reminded the courtroom that bias has no place in justice. Reflection reminded society that equality is not negotiable. Reflection reminded families that humanity is always protected. That is the lesson. That is the truth. And that is justice. Justice does not live in bias. Justice does not bow to prejudice. Justice does not surrender to arrogance. Justice is the foundation of society, and it must remain fair, equal, and humane. In this courtroom, the scales of justice are balanced. They do not tip for wealth. They do not tip for privilege. They do not tip for bias. They weigh truth, and they deliver fairness. That is equality. That is humanity. That is justice. The dismissal in this case was not just a ruling. It was a symbol that bias has no place in the courtroom, a symbol that fairness is not selective, a symbol that justice is equal for all. But the true lesson was not in the dismissal. It was in the reflection. Reflection is where dignity is restored. Reflection is where humanity is protected. Reflection is where justice transforms from punishment into compassion. To the Black Father, I said this: your truth is respected. Your dignity is defended. Your humanity is protected. And justice will always stand with you. To the citizens listening, I say this: do not be deceived by bias. Do not be discouraged by prejudice. Do not be silenced by arrogance. Justice is on your side. Justice is your right. Justice is your protection. To the families listening, I say this: your trust is sacred. Your safety is paramount. And this courtroom will always defend that trust. Compassion will never be absent. Humanity will never be ignored. Justice will never be forgotten. And to society as a whole, I say this: justice is not about humiliation. It is about dignity. Justice is not about cruelty. It is about fairness. Justice is not about favoritism. It is about equality. And justice is not about the past. It is about the present. Today, the present demanded fairness. Today, the present demanded equality. Today, the present demanded justice. And justice was served. Let this case be a reminder that bias has consequences, a reminder that prejudice cannot protect you, a reminder that justice is equal for all. Let this case be a lesson in dignity, a lesson in fairness, a lesson in equality. And let this case be a legacy of humanity, a legacy of compassion, a legacy of justice. Because justice is not just about the law. It is about the soul of society. It is about the trust of families. It is about the dignity of communities. It is about the principle that no one is forgotten. That is the lesson. That is the truth. And that is justice. And with that, this case is closed.